Good afternoon, everybody. This is Rick Thomas from Obsolete Video Services. Hey, guys, we're going to answer some questions today about SDI recording. Do you need a time-based corrector? I get a lot of people asking me about this. People who are now getting into vintage video transfers to ProRes files, and of course they're going to ProRes using SDI. And there's a lot of things you need to know about this. All right, guys, if you're doing vintage video recording, which is a lot of obsolete video equipment, as you can see here in my studio, a lot of EIAJs, Type C machines, Betacam SB, Betacam high definition HD cam, IVC 1-inch, and that type of thing. And then you got, of course, a lot of people who do standard formats like VHS and Betamax. All right, guys. If you're doing just standard home recordings and you want to go to, ProRes. Okay, ProRes is a recorder such as this, which goes to a solid state hard drive. And then I've got a couple ProRes recorders which are coming, which are in 3G, which is all you need. These are used on cameras and production and various different things. These are cool because they give you a lot of functions, including scopes and other things. I just picked up a couple of these. These are going to be in 3G. I just got the cages for them. All right, 3G, any type of 3G recorder that does ProRes is perfect for obsolete video recordings. You don't need anything more than 3G. You got people buying 3G and 6G and 12G. You don't need it. Obsolete video recordings or obsolete video is only standard 4.3, 720 by 480. You do not want to record in super high, large, stretched out files, 19 by 20, the larger high definition sizes. You want to keep the original recording 4.3 or 720 by 480 is the standard recordings that a lot of these obsolete videotapes were done in. So you want to keep the original size. You just want to be able to get it in 10-bit 422 ProRes, which is the main purpose of doing a ProRes file, keeping the original recording, the original size as it was recorded. You do not want to go into these large files and stretching out the video and all that crap. You basically want to keep the original recording the way it was originally done. A lot of people do not like stretched out video from old videos that were just standard 4.3 or 720 by 480. So basically, if you're going to be doing recordings from very old equipment such as Obsolete Video Services, which is standard def 4.3, 720 by 480, all right, of course you're going to record to a ProRes recorder. Now, this is a HyperDeck ProRes recorder by Blackmagic, which takes the solid state drives, okay? This is one route you can go. Obsolete Video Services has just acquired two camera recorders by ProRes by Blackmagic. These would connect on cameras out in the field. And these record in ProRes, and they take the SD, standard SD cards. They're very small little cards. A lot of people have been requesting those little cards instead of the Blackmagic ProRes hard drives, the SSD drives. A lot of people are not really wanting those because they don't want to go through all the trouble. They're more set up for the standard little SD cards. They're very small, and the recording is recording to those is much more user-friendly for clients that want those. Okay, we just picked up a couple of these recorders. These are the cages. I just got these. I got the recorders coming this week. All right, you'll be able to record in SDI, directly SDI to these recorders in ProRes. Now, I get people who have similar setups like this, SDI in to ProRes recordings, but they want to go for some obsolete video format like VHS or Betamax or something like that. And they're asking about, all right, can I do that directly, and do I need a time-based corrector? Rule of thumb, yes, you do need a time-based corrector. Anything coming off of tape machines, such as these are all tape machines. All right, the time-based correctors were designed to take out the error rate, the errors in the tape playback of these machines, so the video would be solid color, your color brightness on your color and all your alignments, and even get rid of inconsistencies of noise and flagging video and all that stuff. A time-based corrector does a lot of fixing of errors in the video on mechanical VTRs like these, and they're very, very much needed with any type of videotape machine, VHS, Betamax, whatever, especially on these big 1-inch machines and AJ machines. These machines are very noisy and they're very mechanical and have lots of error rates. All right, I use a professional television studio time-based corrector, which actually corrects all these errors and color alignments and everything else. It's also a frame sync. This is a very, very expensive time-based corrector. You can get a time-based corrector on eBay, but you want to pretty much get a studio one if you're going to go this route. Time-based correctors are very, very important in vintage video transfers. All right, what I do here at Obsolete Video Services, everything I got that goes through my television studio rack, okay, all right, I have what's called a converter, basically. Basically what they are is a mini converter, analog to SDI, okay? I have it's an analog to SDI converter that converts analog in to SDI out. All right, I have that in my studio rack that's routed through a switcher. So anything that comes through the front of my system that's plugged in, no matter what I connect into the system, I can route it right through the SDI switcher, right into the SDI recorder, or a recorder like this. So I can record directly to a ProRes recorder, and it automatically has time-based correction in the system to correct all the errors before it's recorded into a ProRes file. Sometimes when you use video equipment, you start having a lot of errors, flagging, jumping around, tracking inconsistencies, frame sync issues, all that kind of stuff when you're dealing with mechanical tape machines. And if you go directly off of a tape machine to a ProRes recorder, you might run into these issues. I mean, I'm not saying every time, but you might. Now the question is, there is some video equipment out there, I know you guys are thinking this, like Betacam SP and other video decks that have time-based correction cards built into the unit. Yes, I mean, you could probably get away with not using a time-based corrector and use the internal time-based corrector that's built into those units. But I don't go that route because there's so much vintage of video equipment that does not have time-based built into the units. It doesn't have a time-based correction whatsoever. There are some VHS units that have a time-based correction. A couple of Panasonic models I know do. Okay, so you got to sit there and you got to ask yourself, okay, you got video equipment, some of it has built-in time-based cards. Do I need a time-based corrector? Rule of thumb is get a time-based corrector, no matter if your video equipment has a time-based corrector card in it or not. The reason is because you're going to have a lot of equipment that does not have a built-in time-based corrector card. I don't go that route. I don't care if it's got a built-in TBC or not. I automatically go to TBC into my television rack automatically. No matter what I connect into the system, it's got built-in time-based corrector with HDMI outputs, with SDI out for ProRes recording to a portable ProRes recorder or a mountable one. Make sure you have time-based correction either or. If your video equipment has a built-in time-based corrector, like a Betacam SP or something like that, you probably could get around without using one. But most tape machines, generally all tape machines, need a time-based corrector before you try to record ProRes files. Because when you're recording ProRes files, you're going state-of-the-art recording files here, guys. So you want to get the video quality as best as possible. Without a time-based corrector, correcting those errors of those machines and just getting your color balances and everything else and getting it correct where it should be before you record a ProRes, you're sort of defeating the purpose. You don't want to record a crappy video file. You want to record the file as best it possibly can be, right? That's why you go through video equipment like this. You must have a time-based corrector to correct the information before it gets routed to SDI to a SDI recorder or a SDI Blackmagic HyperDeck. You want to make sure you have time-based correction before you hit those ProRes recorders. You want that video signal to be corrected and looking great before you capture it to a file. And if you don't have the money to buy a time-based corrector, or you don't want to invest a lot of money in those expensive time-based correctors, maybe you won't need one. It just depends on the video deck you're using. If you're using a pretty high quality like Betacam SP, like these HD cams, which has its own time-based corrector cards in them, you could get around that. But if you're going off of tape machines like VHS, Betamax, all these type of things, you're definitely going to need a time-based corrector before you do ProRes recordings. I've been getting this question a lot, so let me just tell you the way I do it. My system is set up through my television studio rack. Anything ProRes or anything analog, everything goes through time-based correction in this rack before it hits any other pieces of equipment, before it hits my HyperDeck, or before it hits my recording units that I got coming now, which are ProRes as well, using SD cards. So keep in mind, guys, if you're going to do any vintage video recording and you go into ProRes and you go into some really sophisticated recording hardware like ProRes recorders for like Apple products and various things, and you're doing it for a customer, you must have a time-based corrector before you hit ProRes, because time-based correction will fix all the problems with the video decks you're coming off of. And a lot of old video decks, old vintage video like I do, these decks do not have time-based correction built into them, and so you have no choice. Even this 1-inch machine, like I said, when I run this 1-inch machine, it automatically goes through my studio rack through time-based correction, and the quality is just incredible. And then after I get all the 1-inch off of the Type C machine through my studio, I can get it to a ProRes, and then you're done. All right, and most video editing suites like Final Cut Pro and things like that, they take that video and correct a lot of different things on it at a later time. But you want to get the video best as possible from vintage videos such as this, older equipment. You must go through a very, very good time-based corrector to correct the images before they get recorded to ProRes or a ProRes, a ProRes external or even a ProRes HyperDeck recorder. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video.